What's your "oh man, this will never happen again" moment in D&D? Part 3. I guess it's happening again. Less serious, but it was the moment I realized that this campaign was going to be wild in ways I could never expect. Long story short, these guys were the proud conquerors of a pirate crew and were now tasked to expand their armada. Where else to get a new ship than the port? Plans were hatched. Half the crew would man one pirate, and around 10 would mask as various traders and merchants seeking safe passage to a nearby island. One ship was meant to be threatening. The others were meant to discreetly disarm the cannons and wet the gunpowder, among other things. Basically, confuse the crew of their future ship. At the start, everything went swimmingly. One of the players decided it'd be a great idea to get to know some of the crew. Maybe they were underpaid or something, and he could get them to help out. Makes sense to me, so I encouraged him. He goes up to the crow's nest. A single man is there, eager to do his job. Innocent, yet professional. He was happy to talk to one of the customers and show him the ropes. They bonded a bit, sure. I was confused, to say the least. This player, as a friend, had a track record of being really a dick. Not a bad one, a fun one. Imagine a frequent poster to r/dank memes. Oh lord, was I right to be suspicious. The player proceeds to ask about the man's pay. 5 gold per trip. Oh boy. You know, if you joined my group, you could easily make more than that. Who wouldn't be interested? Especially a poor, rather dumb crow's nest shipmate. What is it that you do? He asked, oh so curiously. Have you ever heard of a reverse funnel? My brain was chugging along. A reverse funnel? What the hell is this player character going on about? You see, the player explains, basically it works in tiers. You become your own business man and trade good berries. You just pay 5 gold to join and pay a monthly fee. You can also get others to join under you and they'll pay you a fee where I get a cut. God damn it. Everyone broke out laughing. A reverse funnel is a pyramid turned upside down. This man was about to found the first fucking pyramid scheme. Rolls were had. Nat 20s received. A dumb crew in the span of 10 days were contractually obligated to pay various fees to the player and were basically brainwashed to serve him. They gave up the ship easily as they just wanted to get off and get more people to join. The captain, the only one who saw through the ruse, was killed. A mutiny. Truly, this was an adventure of a sort. There's some context that needs to be given prior to my story. During an earlier encounter, we were ambushed by murlocs. I forget the actual name, and my character was dragged underwater. My brilliant idea to escape, rather than try a strength check to break the grapple, disguise self-spell into a murloc to confuse them and get them to let me go. Unfortunately, I can't cast spells underwater. One neat artificer ability, however, is to imbue any non-magical item with a spell from my spell list that anyone, including myself, can later use. Since I couldn't cast spells underwater normally, my character got the brilliant idea to enchant his undergarments, on the theory that if captured, it would be the one thing most likely to not be taken away. It has since been assumed that my character has enchanted his clothes with disguise self at all times. Now, on to the story. Our party is spelunking through a mountain that used to be an old dwarven mine. There's a whole army of orcs encamped somewhere in the ruins of the dwarven settlement deep within. And they have not only captured soldiers and civilians from the city we're trying to save, but also the one friendly NPC who helped us with a safe place to rest. After various misadventures, we killed some goblins and orcs, and my character, the artificer with a bag of holding, decided to take the goblin corpses with us, just in case. We couldn't take the orc corpses because they were too big. The idea that it might cause some mistrust between the orcs and goblins if there were some murdered orcs and the goblins were missing. So, after that, we were holed up back at the friendly NPC's home, trying to recover, doing a proper infiltration. It's my watch. There's a knock at the door. Someone shouts at us in Goblin. Thankfully, my character speaks it. Thinking quickly, but not smartly, I used Disguise Self to transform myself into one of the goblins we killed. I walk out and try to bluff the leader of the goblin tribe who's leading the group, making like I was part of a renegade gang of goblins and I just went along with the ones who killed the orcs because I was too big of a coward to say no. I crit my persuasion roll. So now the leader's all sympathetic and commiserates with me about how the orcs are brutal, but they're in charge, and the tribe's all going to benefit when this is all over, etc., and then they lead me back into enemy territory. I get a wonderful tour of the enemy camp, and they even escort me directly to the NPC we're trying to rescue. He's been tortured, but lucid enough to take my suggestion to lead the goblins to a dwarven forge with a ruby that unlocks a vault, what he said, and summons a fire primordial, what he didn't say. Even with that piece of information, the goblin leader isn't convinced. So I do my best to persuade him to act on this opportunity before the orcs take everything. I crit my persuasion roll. At this point, the goblin leader is about to make me his second in command. But I'm still the cowardly goblin, so I get to stay behind while the rest of the tribe rushes that forge, only to die horribly. And after an in-game hour passes, I'm still in enemy territory. I get to use the line I have not yet been able to use in the campaign. I use my magic underpants. My character did manage to get out of enemy territory, but the NPC died of his wounds before we could rescue him, though his sacrifice was not in vain. My party was playing Ravenloft, and were still pretty squishy level 3s when they first ran into Strahd, BBG, in normal form. They had just buried the old burgomaster of Barovia at the request of his family behind a church, and were heading back through town when it got dark. Strahd appeared to snatch Irena, an NPC they were charged with protecting, and the daughter of the aforementioned burgomaster. The party, knowing what little they do about Strahd/vampires, makes a beeline for the nearest building. The whole party gets into a tavern, except for one elf sorcerer PC who was too far from the door to get there before they had to close it. As Strahd approached, the player reached into his sack and readied a bottle of ink by taking off the top. As soon as Strahd was within a few feet, the player tosses it at his eyes. I ask him to roll dex and have Stod make a con saving throw against being blinded until he took an action to clear the ink from his face. Elf rolls a nat 20. Strahd rolls shit. He has legendary resistance, but fuck it. I get what the player's going for, and it's cool. It'll make him feel like he escaped by his own wit and not Strahd's mercy or me forcing the story forward. Strahd is blinded, but very, very angry. Now, this was not meant to be a fight. This was meant to be a demonstration of Strahd's power over the players so they could see their progress at the end and get some clues on his resistances and weaknesses. So I reason the players is going to take this very fortunate roll to do the logical thing and book it to inside the tavern, which I was ready to allow. Nope. Elf character with +0 strength decides he'll instead take this advantageous moment to reel back and deliver a maximum effort kick straight into Strahd's dick. Roll for unarmed. Another natural fucking 20. Again though, +0 strength. Even with a critical, against Strahd, who has resistance to bludgeoning, this is 1 point of damage. Fuck it, I always let nat 20s feel like they were as successful as they could reasonably be. If he just straight-face took it, that would be intimidating, but pretty unsatisfying, and may accidentally imply something to the players I don't wish to communicate. If 1 point of damage is equivalent to a bee sting to the nuts would still fucking suck. So Strahd feels it. He's enraged and slashes back blind. Misses. Finally, player character gets this as his cue and dashes to the tavern, safely making it inside. Another player remarks, "You just kicked a vampire lord in the crotch. You're an idiot." Not missing a beat, he fires back. "Yes, but I don't have a wood stake or a son. I just knew where his was and, how to keep him from having one." A friend of mine who had never played D&D before but always wanted to end up getting invited to join a campaign that had been going for a little while after we had a player drop. The DM helped him roll a character up. We were all around level 10 at this point, so it was really jumping into the deep end for a new player. A Horizon Walker Ranger, DM allows unearthed arcana stuff, and we ended up in a pretty large battle the very first session he played. My character is a fighter who is the primary damage dealer of the party, but bad initiative rolls on my part resulted in me getting banished immediately by an enemy caster. Our paladin was able to disrupt the spell, and I closed to deal with the caster, but bad attack rolls meant I wasn't able to kill him and I got banished again. The rest of the party struggled to get in range through the other enemies to disrupt the caster again. Things are looking a little rough, and then the new player's turn comes up. Since he has a longbow, he realizes he has to take the shot at the caster because the two other melee characters, the paladin and a rapier-wielding ranger, are otherwise occupied, and the sorceress and the bard are having to retreat in the face of the enemy melee rush, and they really need to get me back in the fight. First roll in D&D combat ever, he crits and hits for a truckload of damage on the caster. Second attack, he crits again and kills the caster. He was really excited that he had made such a crucial play in that fight early on, and what are the odds of back-to-back crits in your first attack rolls ever? So in one of my campaigns, we were about level 4 to 5. We were supposed to be talking to this lich for plot reasons. It was like 2 years ago. I don't exactly remember. My character, Halfling Rogue, was very bad at keeping secrets, and one natural 1 on wisdom later, I told the lich about the pet baby dragon we had, the reward of a different dungeon. The lich wanted our dragon. That wasn't gonna happen. I attacked him with sneak attack, dealing about 40 damage, the DM's side already planning his next campaign as he was expecting a TPK, and said roll initiative. 2 of the 4 PCs got a nat 20 on initiative, myself included, and the other 2 got 19s. We were pretty psyched, but we did not expect to survive. Then we saw the DM groan. He informed us of the Lich's natural 1 on initiative. We went ham, expending all of our key points, sorcerer points, and anything else we had at our disposal. Our first few rounds of combat resulted in around 100 damage. Then he tried to cast Finger of Death to take me out, which definitely would have succeeded, and rolled another 1. He pointed at himself and pulled the metaphorical trigger. Our DM was never the same again. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you like what we do, or you hate what we do, or you've got a story that you'd like for us to do, please let us know with your comments.